Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my beautiful, sweet angels from all around the world. And welcome to another day of Soul Healing Summit Season 3, where you get to find your healing modality. Today, we have a beautiful priestess. Her name is Jamie. She's a modern day seer, a priestess of divine light, and a bringer of light. And we had such an interesting time just starting this Zoom that went out several times, no cameras. It's definitely a lot of energy coming in. Welcome, beautiful priestess.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me here, my love.
I definitely sense the energy, and it feels like it's almost like whatever agenda you had, whatever questions you wanted to ask, forget all of that because we're just going to take over. So let's dive deep.
Yeah, I
How
feel that
about
too.
how about we begin with harnessing the divine light within all of us?
Mm, yeah. So this morning, I'm part of this really beautiful shamanic group, and there's 8 of us all over the world. And we hold a grid of energy all over the world. And we meet at 2 in the morning, my time, on Zoom. And today's topic was love. And I'm feeling drawn to just share that that's my heart is wide open right now. So I'm in that frequency for anybody who would like to feel into the potentiality of that for themselves as well, to step in and resonate with it. And the reason I'm sharing that is because these words are semantics. Light can be so confusing. And we hear love and light, and I'm like, it's literally my purpose on the planet. And it sounds so silly and trivial, but it's something to be felt, just as that frequency I'm sharing about. Can you feel, like you were just speaking of, we're in a different space, we're in a different feeling. Can you feel that? It is a lightness. And what I've seen in my life, not always good at following it because I'm human too, but like the beach, I'll say the beach because most of us feel a lightness in nature or the beach. And then maybe most of us would have a heavier feeling with jail, I would say, perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe if you've had a spiritual experience around that. But just to give us a reference point for what light and heavy is, for me, following that is connecting to your divine light. There is a lightness in everybody. And when we make choices from that place, those words, those thoughts, those actions, those frequencies, to me, that's who we really are. And it's like our direct phone line communication with the divine.
And for someone that has been caught up in the 3D matrix, so to speak, for a while and has felt that pain,
Mm-hmm.
that almost they invited it home, like it's part of normal life. And actually, if you go outside and you talk to any normal person, it's like pain is normal. But when you're really happy, it's like, why are you happy? It's like so unusual.
Yeah.
So for someone that is still caught up in that 3D, how do they begin to harness that and expand the light within themselves on a
That's a
daily
great question. What's coming to my mind right now is courage and willingness. This morning I was speaking on the courage to love, and right now what's occurring to me is the courage to be light, the courage to be your divine self, the courage to be your true self, the courage to feel good. I remember Robert Holden, he's a spiritual teacher, and I remember one day hearing him say, joy is radical. And I thought that's interesting. And I feel that way because I grew up, my nickname when I was little, very little, was Little Laugher. And then life happened to me as it happens to everybody. And I shut that part down and I got really serious. And I thought no one's going to take me seriously, coming in all silly and playful or whatever it may be. So there's 2 things in my life which is occurring here that are driving forces for me. And one is devotion and one is courage. So it's, if you're listening and following along, it's if you can, place your hand on your heart. It's I am willing to open to the courage to know my true self, to know my divine self, to anchor in that self, regardless of people saying that's weird, that's too much. That's not real, or whatever it may be. And then the other anchor point is devotion, is I'm living my life for a bigger why. I'm living my life for a purpose. And whatever is near and dear to your heart, I devote myself to be in my life, to being an expression of the divine, to being an integration of the divine and the human, as much as I can. Because it's not about just floating around in a high frequency all day and not being human. To me, it's about how to integrate the two.
Bridging
Um,
thing too, yeah.
yeah.
It's like you're speaking my language. I'm like, how did we not meet before? I don't understand that.
Life is
You're
wild.
speaking my language. I love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I want to hear the story because you said that something happened and you shot that down. That
Mm.
beautiful laughter angel. They came here just like sprinkle joy everywhere you go. What happened or who was that person or that moment in your life that opened up that door and be like, hey, come back to your light? Like, was this somebody that helped you along the way? What was that pivotal moment that maybe somebody is in that moment right now and they're like
Yeah.
blind to it?
Yeah. So many little moments. My journey has been so many little moments, but the past 10 years, I'd say, has been a really deep integration into the light, and my physical body broke down. I got really sick. I was in constant dysregulation of my nervous system, so much anxiety, bouts of depression. I more lived in the anxious realm, got diagnosed with all sorts of chronic things. Um, Tried Western medicine. And while I believe it helped me in the short term, it didn't actually help me deeply heal what I needed to heal and thrive in the long term. So the breaking down of my humanity over time made me go deeper, 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 look to the invisible. And I remember 10 years ago meeting a Reiki master, and it's funny at the time because I'm a Reiki master since and many other things, and I was like, energy healing. I don't know what that is, but I need my energy healed. Like it was like
You knew it.
I was just not, it was not language I grew up around. I know some people are lucky enough to have that in their upbringing, but I didn't have any of this. It's like spirit just woke me up. And so slowly but surely I've, met incredible mentors and, um, gone on a deep healing journey of really uncovering these divine qualities, these higher frequencies, these states that live within us that I believe are always there, but perhaps lie dormant because maybe no one saw me in it when I was young. So I didn't know it lived in myself. And now I'm on oh, wow, that lives in me. Can I validate that for myself? And then find others who then show up once I do the inner work.
Doesn't the path of this growth, it's technically a discovery of you. So the
Yeah.
more you discover different parts, that we call it essential, we call it becoming, but it's truly unpeeling a part of yourself that was here the entire time.
That's profound. When you really realize it was here the entire time, I'm uncovering a part of myself. It's not as scary. It's not like, oh, there's this unfamiliar thing and I have to let go of this person that I was and oh no, I'm becoming this other person. It's like it was always here and I'm remembering it and I'm discovering my real identity. And it's not to bash the other identity. It's loving the other identity, but well, I shouldn't say the other's an identity. I'd say the other's an experience. The emotions and the trauma, there are many, many different experiences moving through us. Because in Course in Miracles, it says, I can't remember exactly how it says it, but only love is real. That which is not real does not exist. And that never made sense to me. But what I understand it now is love is infinite, permanent. You can't mess it up. It's real, it's stable. Everything else, yes, we experience it. It's not like it's not experienced, but it's temporary. It's energy that's in constant motion that can come through you and leave. It it's not strong enough to take you over. You are the love, you are the light. You may not feel it all the time, but there's a safety in that and Yeah, the beautiful energy that's behind what we're speaking of right now is your true identity. And when you remember that, then it's not so scary to wake up.
Because you've been that for, hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes. That's actually
Yes.
to
And
be
even
more
if you're
familiar.
human, yes, go ahead.
So it's almost like we have to delete all the fear that we've learned from the system to be able to come back or wake ourselves up.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's many ways, right? There's
I was
beautiful
gonna say next. I'm like, how do we begin?
many ways, many ways, right? And one of the ways is becoming the observer of it. So embodiment is a huge practice for me of coming back into my body, meaning bringing my awareness to the sensations that are here in the moment, honoring the sensations fully, but not being the sensations, not being consumed by the sensations, having that little bit of awareness, love, unconditional love that says, I'm not going to make a story about this, but all is welcome here. This energy can move through me. Um, so it's noticing the fear without judging the fear and allowing it to move through you at the same time. We get stuck in these identities because we identify with them and we misunderstand that it's energy, emotions, physical, all of it, it's energy and motion. So when we forget we're divine too and energy, and when we think we're just human, then we live in that 3D stuck reality. But when we realize, hey, I'm the observer of the experience, and when I move towards the experience with non-judgment, neutrality as best as I can, because that is not the easiest thing to do. It's a lot of practice. But when I do that, the energy that I identified with, that I said, hey, that's me, starts to move. And then this love or this joy or this authenticity or this truth of emotion in the moment or whatever it may be starts to take up the space of your body and your energy field, which is the rediscovery, like you spoke of.
As you're speaking this, what came through is the idea of shaking off, like animals, they shake off, or like
Yeah.
dogs, they get wet and they shake off. It's almost like when we come into this during the day, whenever we are in this 3D reality, we get to experience all this emotion, sadness, grief, joy, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's almost like we have to shake all that off at the end of
Yeah.
the day
Yeah.
before we pass into the other realm and vice versa, like on daily basis. That's a practice.
Especially when we're energy sensitive souls, of course. And what I've learned too is we can get really hung up on tools or techniques. And when we find something that works for us, we can continue it on. But to be really present to this higher question of what is needed to resolve this fill in the blank. In this moment, what is needed to resolve this sadness that I'm experiencing? What is needed to resolve this fear that I'm experiencing? And listen, is it EFT tapping? Is it Reiki? Is it, there's a very loud trash truck outside.
Yeah.
Is it deep breathing? Is it,
Is there a trash can outside?
I know. Is it putting your energy into the trash? And so you will be guided with that present moment wisdom, as opposed to like, oh, so and so did this thing for this thing, and I'm just going to keep doing this modality. So learning to connect to the body, learning to connect to the wisdom, learning to ask these higher questions has been really serving for me.
Is this something that you practice every day? Like you wake up and it's almost like a reset every day?
Yeah, I mean, I live, eat, and breathe divinity. It is my devotion to heal, to expand, to know who I am, to be in my truth, to follow joy, to be a truthful, wild expression of the moment. So my practice looks different every day. But I do pray and set intentions. I'm always saying, okay, this is what I intend for this moment. That's very powerful. I never understood how powerful intention was, but because I'm like, I'm making this up. But it directs your energy and your focus into the infinite quantum field of possibility that we're all part of. Science shows us all the atoms around us, and it's focusing our attention to look elsewhere than the patterns we've been looking. So I'll often set intentions and I spend time with myself on a daily basis, if not 7 days a week, 6 days a week, because I'm thinking maybe I'll be in such a good frequency during the day, I'm not thinking about it. But putting my hand on my heart and saying, how do you feel? So that I can practice not running from, not suppressing, but welcoming, loving, unconditionally accepting, allowing whatever energy is arising within me to move through me. Um, I usually do an energy clearing prayer. I'll say, whatever I might feel that isn't mine, I'm sending it back to you with love. And if I'm having a tough time, I'll pray and say, what is needed here? And I'll follow whatever practice it is. But it's really important. I feel it's important to note this. At the beginning of my healing journey, I made choices of healing through fear a lot. I was afraid I wasn't okay. And so I would be tapping like crazy or meditating like crazy or doing all of these courses like crazy. And it was coming from not realizing I was, which at the time I couldn't have seen it yet, but whole and complete and safe on my own and connected to source and infinite and all of these things. And now I realize healing modalities are beautiful. Prayer is beautiful. Whatever it is beautiful. But can I wait until my mind is calm and I'm getting that information from a centered place of wisdom that says, this is loving and supportive for you to go meditate, or this is loving and supportive for you. Not, I'm not okay. I need to frantically heal, because then you're coming from that frequency and no amount of even these beautiful healing modalities that are coming to you from that place. So just to kind of get curious, where am I uh, healing from? Where am I choosing my healing path from?
So ultimately, coming back to the true essence of who you are.
Yes, right. What feels light? Does it
Um,
feel urgent? Does it feel heavy? That isn't coming from love, lightness, divinity. It isn't coming from your higher self saying, go this way, do this thing.
I'm hearing from the collective that if they lived with themselves and they've done certain things or whatever, where they weren't happy about the person that was before, it's like, what can they look for the divinity if looking back, it's not
Mm,
something that they see?
mm. This one was tough for me, um, but not judging divinity. So this can be tough when you've experienced suffering and pain, and you see others suffering and you see others' pain, but almost removing whatever my mind perceives as this was bad. I wish this didn't happen. I should have known this sooner. And just letting it be an expression of God, an expression of the divine, a piece of art that I'm placing good, bad, right, or wrong on top of. And could I move into the frequency of acceptance beyond what my mind believes? This is a radical act, this conversation, this part of the conversation, to say, I don't know why it was the way it was in my life, but I am willing to allow it to be as it is. And when we do that, we release resistance. What we resist persists. The energy moves and more of you comes in. We don't live in Groundhog's Day. So I remember once a teacher kind of proposed the question to me in this group of, do you believe in a benevolent universe? Do you believe that regardless of your pain, regardless of your challenges, life is happening through you and for you, not by you and to you? And so I choose that perspective. And with that lens and those glasses on, I get to see, wow, that was really hard. And then on the other side of that, I have a voice. I can speak my truth. I know love. I know healing. I know capacity for greatness. I know strength within me now, and I would have never known these things. The courage and the willingness to say, could I open my mind beyond what I've known to the possibility? And if there is, that would be cool. Show me that we live in an infinitely loving plane of existence beyond what we perceive could be wrong about it.
A deeper question to you: why we come such infinite beings with such wisdom, with such literally no limitations? Why do we have to go through such a tiny, tiny, tiny gap on becoming a human with so many limitations to eventually remember who we are?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know if I know the answer to that.
I was hoping you would come through you.
But what I can tell you from my almost 40 years on the planet, um, is we cannot know light if we do not know darkness. We cannot understand something if we don't know its opposite. And so it's my understanding that we are life remembering itself. If life is just infinite experience, someone said it like this to me too. Life got bored and was like, I want to have lots of different experiences and I'm going to have it through lots of different people. And, it's this, I get to have the contrast to, and Esther and Jerry Hicks, Abraham Hicks talks about contrast a lot. It's like I have to know the contrast to know the other, to say, well, I really don't want this. And so it's really making me aware of what I do want and who I really am. So we have that experience of lack and limitation and fear to also know the opposite.
Without a shadow, there's no light.
Yeah. Right.
Hmm. There's so many deep questions that I've been asking myself my entire life, so that was one of
I
them.
know. I know.
I'm like,
I know.
maybe we can channel through something even bigger.
Yeah.
This journey is so amazing, and I love how you speak with such flow because I can sense that you've been through a lot, and there was a lot of I'm going this way, boom. I'm going that way, boom. And then eventually, like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the flow. I see a little bit light this way, I'll go this way, and I see a little bit that way, and I'll go that way.
Yep.
How many times do you feel like you pivoted your road where you had started from zero?
Mm, many times, especially being a spiritual entrepreneur, like owning my own business. And I came to Los Angeles to be an actress and did
Me
that.
too.
You did?
Yes. Okay. Definitely sisters.
Yeah, we need to talk.
Yes.
Um, and then that was an interesting, which I'm sure you can relate and share your story too. But I had a really hard time moving from acting to healing. I knew this other path was, this healing path was for me, but I bounced back and forth and back and forth, and I'd be done for a while. I should take an acting class. And it was just this uncomfortable thing until it wasn't anymore. Until the last 10 years, it's been, um, you know, this is why I'm on the planet. I love it. It's my heart. And then I work with a lot of people too in that transition where it's like, I know I'm meant for something else. I don't know what this looks like because it doesn't even have a job title. And that's a crazy time in your life. And then when I did make that transition, the amount of things I have tried in the healing world, and if you are a healer on this call too, or an entrepreneur or coach or whatever it may be, we change our labels so often, what we're called, what we do, because for me personally, I've started over constantly of, okay, well, I'm a Reiki master now. Okay, I do mediumship now. I do animal healings now. I do energy. Oh, I channel this. And oh, I channel this being. No, I'm a coach now. I'm a meditation teacher. And so it's wow. I am amazed at my courage to constantly start over and not call it failure. To just say, I heard a success coach say once, he was a millionaire, and he was like, my secret to success is trying a whole bunch of stuff, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, keep doing what works, let go of what doesn't. But when we have all of our pain of I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, I'm a failure, valid pain, we stop ourselves from getting our hands in there and starting over and not knowing who we are and figuring out who we are and being at barbecues and people being like, what do you do? And you're like, oh God, how do I even
So
answer
healer, you're what?
that? Yeah.
Well, we are shifting more into that world where that kind of conversation is more open. I remember I
Yeah.
actually was in LA just recently, and it was not necessarily the environment or the type of people that I normally spend most time with. And even that, like, I would pass by and I would hear from corner to corner, like, have you heard of meditation? And then next conversation is something else. And I was so amazed
Yeah.
to hear those kind of things in like just mainstream.
Yeah. Definitely.
So,
Especially in more in towns like Los Angeles or Austin, Texas, or just like these up and coming areas where it's super normalized. I was at a fundraiser the other day, and the box that most people put their raffle tickets in, one of the ladies was raffling off a Reiki session, and everybody's like, "I want the Reiki," but these weren't like healer souls. It was an artist, it was a group, it was a fundraiser for writers, and I was like, that is so cool that everybody like wants to win the Reiki session. And it was not cool or heard of when I first started it, you know. But yeah, it's beautiful that we are all waking up and allowing more light in.
that's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah.
On the note of allowing more light in, would you please guide our VIP members on a beautiful journey so we get to taste some of your path to divinity?
Yes, I would love that. So let's I'll set the intention for us to connect to the light within and devote to that path, devote to following that path.
It was beautiful. I just feel this light emanating in every direction. It's amazing.
As the lights on your screen are flashing.
I'm like, that's why I live most of the time. Yes. So
Yes.
beautiful to get in touch with your own light, your own divinity, your own truth, your
Mm,
own essence, and send back those gifts that don't belong to you.
yeah. I exist in my essence. I am safe in my essence. I am loved in my essence.
It reminds me of a journey I had last year. I was in Kauai and I was asking for some answers. And I remember I was hugging this durian tree and I asked, "What is the answer?" And the durian tree said, "You are all that you need."
Mm,
And it's like that got imprinted in my heart. And
mm,
ever since, I'm like, all that I need, I already am.
mm.
It's a beautiful truth for all of us to contemplate on, to open up to accept as our own.
It's wrapping our head around, yes, we are that profound. Yes, we are that powerful. Yes, we are that grand. All of us, you know, and human. And it's normal.
Bringing it back to the 3D, how do we apply some of this magical abilities to harness energy, to channel, to transmute into the day to day life? Give
Mm.
us some examples.
I love staying in possibility. So I'll catch my mind saying, you know, oh, I don't believe that's possible or whatever it is. And so I'll say, all right, let's call on a miracle. Send me a miracle, God. Send me a miracle. Help me. What if it is possible? And so I catch any limitation. So I'd say notice any arguing for your limitations that you're doing in your mind. Right? I'll never have that. That's not possible. And again, that's valid pain arising, but we can notice it and go, "Oh, okay, cool. Yep. That's been programmed in there for a very long time. What if there is another way?" Just keeping your door in your conscious mind open a crack for the light to enter, for a new way to enter, for a new thought to enter is magic. And to even know there is an energy in you, I'm going to call it an energy right now, but that contains answers to possibility, love, joy. And so if you know how to not listen for the obvious urgent thing in your mind, but listen for the quiet calm thing, it comes through. Right. And I always say that, and it's so simple, but it's making decisions from a calm place. And I alluded to it a little bit before, but if you can talk about harnessing the energies, pause and respond, not react, just taking that of like, wow, my humanity is going to come real fast and it's going to be real habitual and it's going to feel real heavy. And I'm going to love every second of it, meaning I'm going to say, I love you. I accept you. It makes sense you feel that way given your past. I get it. And I'm not going to sit down and have a cup of tea with what you're saying. I'm going to pause and I'm just going to see what light thing, what peaceful thing pops into my mind. I was in this predicament yesterday. I literally was, I double booked myself on something and was like, oh my God, I have to be at both. I don't see a solution. And I got on the phone with my boyfriend and he knows my medicine. And he was like, the answer will come to you. And I'm mad. I was like, no, you need to tell me the answer. Well, I forgot all my wisdom in that moment. And then I thought, no, get quiet and see. And then another possibility. I wanted to jump on it. I wanted to follow the urgency. And it was that 1% of me was like, no, pause. What else is possible here? What else is available to me here? What is needed to resolve this thing? And then a third option I never even thought of came in and it worked itself out perfectly.
I made an agreement with my angels anytime I have some like schedule difficulties, and I'm like, you already know where I'm supposed to be the most, so you reschedule it. I don't have to do it, and my schedule always aligns. Like, if I don't feel good, my clients all of a sudden going to be like, "Can we do it tomorrow?" And I'm like,
Wow.
"Thanks, angel." So I just let them do that for me.
I love that's a great, I'm gonna take that. That's really good.
Like,
That's really
it's like
good.
cutting off an assistant, just like, "Can you take care of my schedule, please?"
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there you go. There's another hack. I mean, it's funny when you ask that, there's so many, but this is one I play with the quantum field. I play with the invisible. I know that there's a helper, available to me when I can start to observe and know and get intimate with, this is what my humanity feels like. This is what my divinity feels like. And can I start to devote myself to say, I'm going to pause, I'm going to wait, I'm going to pray, um, and attempt to follow that path? Because then what happens is, our nervous system gets rewired around a new reality. It takes time. When we retrain our nervous system, it's like slow and longer, but over time, it starts to see new proof. Hey, so weird. Stuff pops into my mind when I pray about a new possibility and don't react on the urgency. Huh. Okay, I guess there's this thing I can trust I never learned about in third grade, So
I guess life could be easy too. I never thought of that possibility.
yeah. That's what I'm playing with now is the frequency of ease. And so again, you say, what's another energetic hack? Pick a frequency you'd like to play in or have more of. Mine is ease. I am in a perpetual experiment right now of, can I be crazy rich with ease? Can I make my own schedule and have some way where like larger sums of money come with little work? And I have this whole experiment.
You sure we don't have the same mother or father? 'Cause
Maybe, maybe. We were raised in very different places, I can tell.
yeah.
um, but yeah, I pick something, like have fun, be like, I would love to. And my loves, it's probably the difference. Like, what are you feeling now that's really challenging for you? Are you feeling a lot of sadness? Are you feeling a lot of fear? Well, and for me, it was hard work, and I make really good money, but I was like, I don't want to work this many hours for this much money. I want to work less for more. So ease. And set the intention, surprise yourself, right? Okay, this is baloney. This could go wrong, but I intend to anchor into the frequency of joy, peace, ease. It is my devotion. And then see what conversations, what TV shows you're attracted to, what books, what podcasts, what interviews you end up listening to, that contain the information that you need. So just plugging into different radio stations.
So, in other words, be open to the answers because they come to us in many ways. It could be a book, it
Yes.
could be a movie, it could be anything.
And what is for you will feel light. And if it feels light, it has a light sense to it, it is a contribution to you. That is what I learned. And you know what else I've seen as magic in my life too? Following that which feels light is a contribution to you, and you are resourced in it. So there were so many courses. I was like, oh my God, I've taken so many courses. I can't take another course. I'm being irresponsible with my money. And then I learned this trick about lightness. And there was this one course and it just felt so light. And I was like, well, I learned that will be a contribution to me. And if it feels light, there already exists a solution in the quantum field for me to resource me, meaning money, possibility, babysitter, whatever you would need to do the thing. And that day, I said yes to it, and I got an email from a random corporate client that I hadn't gotten an email from in a year saying, we'd love to book a year-long program with you. And my mom, I told her I wanted to do this thing, and without even saying how much it was, she said, well, because I have a big birthday coming up this year. And she was like, I could treat you to half for your birthday. So within a matter of an hour, the entire cost of thousands of dollars of a program was covered. And I didn't know how, but it felt light and I knew it would be resourced. So I mean, really, truly, I've just seen time and time again in my life. And do I have the skills to follow that all the time? Do I still fall into my asleepness of heaviness? Yes. But I'm learning, wow. There, and that's what helps me with this benevolent universe thing. I'm like, well, when we follow that, I am so cared for. There is ease. There is ease. Do we have the courage to be seen in that level of joy and that level of ease and that level of provision is the next ponderance.
Absolutely. I feel like
Mhm.
I could speak with you for days because
Yeah,
I don't even have to ask you questions because we're in the flow of ocean of love.
yeah.
Ah, this has been amazing. I feel like I want to hold on. They still have another question.
Mhm.
What if the truth that you find nobody else around believes in
Mm,
and everybody's calling you crazy?
mm.
What do you do?
Devotion. Devotion to the truth. If truth is what you are here for, it's between you and truth. I commit myself, regardless of if the entire universe thinks I'm crazy. This is what I am anchoring in for me. So, to me, what immediately comes in is devotion and self love. Self love says, I've got you. No matter whether anyone else has you, understands you, I'm doing it for you because you are worthy and deserving of speaking your truth, living your truth, being happy, whatever it may be. Now, I'm also in the understanding that, or in the exploration that when you do, if it's like, okay, I'm believing this thing and whatever it is, if it is light and it is of love and it is of truth, you love yourself in that. When you give yourself permission to have that, you devote to that, then the universe will reflect back to you, even if it's a minority of people. And even if you find each other on Zoom randomly, right? Um, they will reflect back to you those that are in alignment with that. So I don't think there is an aloneness in it. And at the end of the day, I had a sticky on my wall for years. It's between you and God. It's between you and God, kid. It isn't between the approval of others or people thinking I'm strange or crazy and weird. It's just boop to boop. And then I release, not always easy, but I release attachment to how God's work through me is received.
And a lot of times you probably share things that are way ahead of time and it creates that ripple effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again takes courage for those of us light workers that are here who, like you said, it's wonderful. We're more open to it. So it's probably easier to do our work than it was in past lives when we were the only one in the town. But it does take great courage to be different, to see the world the way that we do, because we're like, well, it's so loving and beautiful. And that's sometimes called crazy. But, it's a projection of other people's fear of God, divinity, source, soul onto you. It's not about you. So trust the knowing, and period.
I was going to say, I was looking on the board. I'm like, I don't see any other words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, we're so connected. So many questions you had answered before I asked.
Mm,
Ah, it's been such a loving experience. And for
yeah.
those of you listening to this, if you're tuning to the energy, you probably had experienced quite a few shifts, quantum shifts that had happened during our conversation. I felt it mainly in the chest. It was just
Yeah.
like this openness to possibility for hundreds of people who are hearing this in their heart, maybe for the first time. And
Mm,
oftentimes, like you say, programs and conversations, it's not so much necessarily going there to get a specific thing, but just being in the environment that creates the channel for you to get your own answers.
Totally.
So, like Jamie said, follow your lightness. Notice what's in front of you. Every moment we are faced with choices. Choose one that makes you feel light. Choose one that empowers you. Choose one that brings you back home to you. Mm.
Amen.
Oh, sister, this has been so amazing. I'm so
So beautiful.
even though the internet and the Zoom and all the things try to.
Yeah, it was so much energy, so much good energy, we made it through. But that was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful angel.
Thank you
Beautiful.
too.
And for those of you who are listening, who have felt this shift, who have felt this awakening within your field, and you're like, oh my goodness, Jamie is my person, please follow the link below and continue this journey with her if she is your soul family. Because, if you feel light, then this is your place called home. Until the next time.